Hey everyone. I'm just going to gloss over the fact that I haven't uploaded for about 10 or 11 months. I might end up detailing some of that in an upcoming update type thing, but for now, we've got a roundtable type thing that I think we recorded at the start of about February. I've had some home life stuff and everything. It's been awful. So it didn't get edited down until about a few days ago, but I think most of what we talked about is still pretty relevant and I hope you enjoy. As a side note, I was pretty tired when we recorded this, mostly on the waking up side of tired, because it was about 4:30 or 5 a.m. my time when we did this. So now you know why I sound stoned out of my goddamn mind at times. But as for the actual content of the roundtable, we started off talking about our favorite games we played during 2016. Polly got a PS4 and we talked about that and its exclusives. Then I think we talked about visual novels and game design and stuff. We got kind of sidetracked as usual. Also, I made some comments about Nier Automata in this podcast that indicated that the PC port of the game might be coming out about a month after the PS4 version. It's actually coming out, or has already come out, on the 17th of March, only about a week or so after the version on PS4. At the time, we didn't know it was coming out on Steam at that time, so sorry about that misinformation. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out to listen, and I hope you enjoy.
So there's some things that I got around to in 2016 that didn't necessarily come out. Well, one that came out was... I'll talk about that later. The Witcher 3. Well, okay, I was going to say Watch Dogs 2, but that actually did come out.
Yeah.
In 2016, but Witch 3, man, it's like one of the greatest fucking games I've ever played ever. And I mean, I don't have to like run down like to everybody watching this like why The Witcher 3 is good, but like for me, like it sucks out all of the bullshit I hate in open world action RPGs, and just instead of like, okay, well, you don't get this, but you get this mechanic that like almost like it has to compensate for taking something out, but it doesn't do that. It just goes, no, you don't have to do all that shit. It doesn't the interface doesn't pressure you into doing bullshit side quests. Your like objective menu shit isn't flooded with like that's why I don't play MMOs, is because I never know where to go because there's like 900 different quests in your fucking quest queue.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't do that. You can blast through the main story and it's fine. It's super moddable too, which is like a big plus for me. I have like almost 30 mods going right now, and like tons of graphical mods, and pretty much all the settings are still maxed out, and I'm getting 60, which is like about the only time I'll accept 60 frames per second is if I mod the shit out of it, and it can still run it, and oh, it looks so good, and I can console command to play as what's her name, the chick, I forget her name, Siri, yeah, Siri. And she's so fucking OP when you're playing her in the Geralt areas. Holy shit. But yeah, the game just it works. Like I don't know. Like I'm not a fan of open world games either, and from like how the objective markers work to the I like the only way, for example, the only way I was able to play through Skyrim is just blasting through the main story, with the exception of the Dark Brotherhood quests and the Thieves Guild. I just had to blast through the main story because I cannot take all the distractions. Like when developers talk about like, yeah, we filled the open world with tons of stuff to do, and it's like, yeah, but that tons of stuff to do is of such lower quality and overall significance in the world than what the main story is. It's like, it just gets overshadowed by like, okay, well, this is fucking retarded. I won't touch this, and I'll go for like the thing that actually affects, the world and the vibe and the, progression and all that stuff. So I tend to go for that. And The Witcher doesn't pressure you or doesn't make you do things that like, so a good sort of proof of concept of this is you can talk to people in Skyrim, and by the end of the conversation, sometimes whether you realize it or not, you have an extra quest in your fucking quest queue for no fuck. You're like, what? I don't want to do this. And in the dialogue options in The Witcher, it's always made clear, like, yes or no, is this going to get added to your list? It's super simple. It's not like a big thing to do, but it's so much more. Yeah, so it makes the open world so much more manageable because it's not flooded with retarded.
Yeah, you don't get that weird thing like in Skyrim when some random yahoos like just runs past you screaming and yelling, and you barely notice them, of course, because you're focused on something else that you're doing, and right over everything that you're doing, you get boom, quest started.
Yeah. Yep. And then it sets that as your active quest, and you got to go into the menu, and you're like, I don't want to do this. Leave me alone, game.
Exactly.
And it doesn't do that, and I really appreciate that. And the combat system, I think, is more complex than it looks at first. Like for instance, you have a rolling mechanic, and you have like a pivot kind of dodge mechanic, like a dash, I guess. And there's strong attacks and weak attacks, and I don't want to compare it to Dark Souls because it doesn't flow the same way. Dark Souls has a very like attack and defense kind of modes, which style you want to like engage in, or not style, but like now I have to do the defend part, and then I get my chance to attack. Whereas I hate comparing everything to Dark Souls, but it is like an action RPG.
Yeah.
And The Witcher has a more like fluid, like there's no real like distinctive, like here's the part in the fight where you put up your shield, and it's much more fluid. It has like a better flow, I think, in my opinion.
The thing I found that I didn't really like about The Witcher 3 when I played it was not that I didn't like, is that I found that it lacked finesse in that you can't choose the attacks that Geralt does specifically. Like
I totally agree, yeah.
You can't make him do the, really purposeful, fast, heavy lunge. You can't make him do that. You can't make him do just the thrust. Sometimes he'll do the thrust, but sometimes he'll do this really slow, twirly bullshit that you didn't want him to do at all.
I know the exact attack you're talking about.
Yeah. And it gets you hit, and it feels like a fault of the game and not of yourself.
Did they?
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I have not played Witcher 3. Did they do away with stances? Like you don't have the modes of attack anymore?
Yeah, you don't have stances. What it does now, and there's pros and cons to this, and it's kind of what dictates the twirly attack versus the slash or whatever the fuck. They made the combat system much more cinematic, so it looks a lot better, and you're having fun because you're like watching Geralt do these fucking cool things.
Sure.
From just like a fight choreography standpoint.
Yeah.
But what it does in order to make you do that, it sets context for certain attacks based on the distance you are from the target.
Yeah.
So if you're a certain distance away, you're going to do the twirly attack because it like pushes you forward. You do this little like half cartwheel spin move thing.
Yeah, totally.
Just using that as an example, it pushes you forward, so it sets you in the right distance in order to be able to hit. Which is cool on one hand because you're not constantly missing, which is nice. But yeah, at the end of the day, it does give you less control, so that kind of sucks. But again, like I'm talking from a position of someone who's modded the game, so anytime I do that spinny attack and I get a critical hit at the same time, it goes slow-mo, and it's the best thing ever. It's like right as the contact hits, it does that super like 10% speed for like a second. Oh, it's so satisfying. And then I set the dismemberment and the more blood mod on, so you see limbs getting chopped in half, and it's like Dragon Age 1 blood, like it's just coating the whole area.
You're having a conversation, and it's all over your face and armor. And oh, that was great.
Yep.
Oh my god,
it's so good.
And you can get your dog. You can get your dog to lick it off of you.
I don't remember that. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Yeah, if you had the Mobari Warhound, one of the options when you talk to the dog was, "Can you do anything about this mess?" And it's like the dog laps up the gore.
That's so
and then
good.
And then your character would be clean, and you're like, "Thanks, boy." Yeah.
Are you
good
hungry,
boy.
buddy? You want some viscera?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe you don't remember that.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's kind of a superficial sort of, I really like this kind of thing, but the way that The Witcher 3 does dismemberment, just like in general, is fun just in the vanilla game, because it feels very, I don't know, real life in that it doesn't like pay it any special mind. There's no like on default, there's no, it zooms in and shows you all the gore. It's not like Sniper Elite
Oh.
where it's like, oh yeah, look at what you just did. No, it's like you're just out on the field. You hit someone with your sword. Of course, there's a chance his arm's gonna come off at the shoulder, and it's just off there. And while you're dealing with two other dudes, that guy just like kind of stands there going, "Oh God," and like holding his shoulder is great.
Yeah, it doesn't do like the Mortal Kombat X-ray
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. I find the combat really good. I don't get distracted in the open world. The main problem I had with it that kind of put me off at first, once I learned how to switch it. I bought this game 4 different times, by the way. I'll explain that in a second.
Whoa.
But
Please.
yeah, the voice acting is horrible in my opinion, and the main culprit is just Geralt. I can't stand
he always has been.
It's not like I really like monotone male characters, like especially like from the perspective that The Witcher is supposed to be. It's like this cold killer and shit. I like that just fine. It's just he seems really bad at it. Whoever does his voice, I don't get it. But I switched to the Japanese voices, who are a lot better. They're not as good as the Polish ones, but I don't like the Polish, like, just language in general. But yeah, I switched to that. And just generally Japanese has, I mean, I know this is coming from me, so there's obviously some bias, but Japanese has something that most, I almost said no other, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Most languages don't have, in that the way Japanese uses emphasis is it's tonal, not stress. So it has like when you emphasize syllables, you say it in a higher pitch. So there's always some semblance, at least to American ears, that there's emotion in what he's saying, even though there might, not be. I'm not an expert on Japanese, obviously, but that aspect's always there, so it sounds just like he's not as monotone.
Right.
But no, I bought the game 4 different times, because one, I bought it on GOG, and that thing, it downloads like the files. Sorry, that was my phone. It downloads the files in like chunks, and it's just a pain in the ass to manage, and you have to launch it through the fucking GOG thing, and fucking hated it. And then I got it on Green Man Gaming. Didn't pay attention that it was the GOG key, so I bought the game twice for GOG.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And then actually no, it was 3 times, not 4. Yeah. So that kind of put me off playing it for a while, and then what do you call it? The Game of the Year edition came out, and I was kind of eyeballing it. I'm like, should I buy it again? No, I learned my lesson. I was looking at it on Green Man Gaming, and I'm like, no, it's the GOG version. I'm not gonna fucking do it. And then I just found the Steam version on like the winter sale, fall sale, I think, and I just bought on that. So it doesn't download everything in chunks. The DLC's like all streamlined, ready to go, and the how you download the language packs in order to switch it to the Japanese version is literally just switching it on the properties on your thing, and then it downloads the voice pack through Steam, whereas on GOG you have to like find it on the fucking on their website, and then like add it into the, it's so stupid and intuitive. And I have the Galaxy app. It's not even like I'm launching it through the DRM-less system they have. Like, I'm not launching it through the shortcut. I'm using like their thing. It's still so just far behind in compared to how Steam works. So I finally got around to playing it through that, because it was, plus I just, when I get something that's complete too, like when I get like a Game of the Year edition, I know there's just like fuckloads of content to go through. That always makes me want to play it more.
I know.
Just because I know there's so much, you know.
I did exactly the same thing with Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, because
Okay.
I bought that shit on like I got it with the PS4 when I first got the console and everything, and I played the shit out of it. I did everything in the base game, and that was like close-ish to when Shadow of Mordor came out. So I'd returned Shadow of Mordor, but I still got the PS4, and eventually Steam had some nuts fucking sale
Yep.
where Shadow of Mordor and all of its DLC and fucking everything was $8 or $9.
I saw
Wow.
that.
So I
Wow.
got it, and I played all the DLC that I missed, and I did everything again, and it was so satisfying. And like I would advise it. Combat might not be for everyone, but I found it and like the war chief system, like the randomization system for the war chiefs and everything, fun enough to keep me playing for 90 hours apparently. So
Wow.
Jesus.
I feel exactly the opposite. Like I rarely buy the complete editions or Game of the Year editions. Just because it came up when we were talking about back in the days of Dark Souls 2. Like I've just come to acknowledge that I do not like DLC. Like I see it all as peripheral. Like I'm interested in the story, I'm interested in the base game, but there's been a couple times like on Steam sales or whatnot, you might get the base game for $10 or the complete edition for 20, and it's like, no, I'll take my $10 and get another base game. It's just a personal preference.
Well, you have to know going in like the quality of what you're getting. So like if you're getting the complete edition for The Witcher 3 and you're getting like the Blood and Wine DLC, I mean that got like it won like fucking best game or whatever the fuck it was, like in some game awards.
Just
like,
that expansion?
Just the expansion, yeah, even though the game didn't come out in 2016. It just
Sure.
won. So yeah, it depends on the quality. If you're comparing like something like that to like Dark Souls 2 DLC, I mean, the DLCs for Dark Souls 2 aren't bad, but it's like you're getting so much less compared
they were
to... I mean,
short, they're peripheral, and if you're not into the PvP, then all the weapons and armors and stuff, they don't mean anything to you. So
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think you just have to know what you're getting.
Yeah, if it adds to the story. That's a good point, because I'm thinking back to, like, I don't even know if you could consider them DLCs, but like in the Baldur's Gate series, like at the end of the 90s and the early 2000s, like they had air quote DLCs for Throne of Baal, which was actually a conclusion to the entire series. And I don't know enough about them to know if that was cut content that just didn't make it into the base game, but they intended to make it a longer thing. But there was story to it. It brought the arc home. And if Blood and Wine for The Witcher was this type of thing. But in terms of like, oh, I just want to play more. Yeah, I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah. It's not like for the Witcher thing with Blood and Wine, and for Middle Earth actually as well, the DLCs that I was talking about.
Yeah.
They're expansions on the story. Like for Shadow of Mordor, you get to play as the Bright Lord, which is Celebrimbor, which is a pivotal. No, it's a pivotal character in Lord of the Rings history, and he's actually a character in the Silmarillion. I think he's the one that made the rings.
He made the
power.
Wow.
And he was a really savage dude, and it's a really cool DLC.
Nice.
So,
very cool.
Yeah, it's not really like Borderlands. Some of the DLCs where they're like, oh hey, you get some accessories and new skins that look terrible. It's not like that.
It's like Borderlands is atrocious because you essentially get a quest.
Yeah.
For like $12.
Exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That is the head of the nail that I was trying to hit. Yes.
Yeah.
Quest DLC sucks.
Yeah. This is the difference between like what I would, and this is very like nuanced. I don't think there's like an objective standard here, but like this is what I would consider the difference between DLC and an expansion.
Yeah, definitely.
I buy that.
They're in defense of Borderlands 2.
Nope.
The Attack on Tiny Tina's Keep, I think, DLC, was actually quite a lot of fun. There was like a lot of passion went into the writing, and it was a fun amount of time. And when it's an ARPG as well, and like sometimes developers expect you to be going through it multiple times, like to get different drops or whatever or accessories. It kind of gains value depending on the type of player that you are for the game. Like with Dark Souls 2, the DLCs are worth more if you want all of the weapons for PvP usage or whatever.
I'm with you.
Well, and even Borderlands 1 had the Moxie's Dome of Dick Fuck, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was like a horde mode added into that. That one was really fun. And you did get like a random rare weapon or whatever the fuck it was at the time. That was cool. Just depends, I guess. So I had The Witcher 3. What about you guys? What about you?
Wait, I have a follow-up question. Do you need a minute to think?
Yeah.
Okay. So Justin, you mentioned like all the mods you were running on it. Like you said you had 30 of them or something.
Something like that, yeah.
What are like 3? We'll try and add some value. Like, what are the top 3 must install mods for The Witcher 3? Like, what were they? What did they do that the base game didn't?
Okay, so I'll just go down the list here. They're really quick, and you can kind of get what they do right from the title. Realistic weather.
Okay.
Which changes. I think it just makes it change more often, and it adds a couple of weathers. There's a blood mod, which is more blood. I actually don't know what this one is.
Okay.
It just says mod can. I think it might be a candle mod for lighting and whatever.
Woo, candles.
Yeah. There's character lighting fix, so it adjusts the shadows that are on yourself. There's a couple of outfit changes, eye changes, like make the eyeballs more colorful or whatever. There's a reworked texture HD project thing. It adjusts the textures for like 4K, but it also makes like the 180p like better. Immersive sound, so it makes like the distance that you hear stuff better, and it changes some of them. Improved sign effects, when you use your special powers or whatever, like when you launch that fire wave, the fire wave just looks better. It has more particle effects. Infinite carry, because fuck being overburdened and not being able to pick shit up.
That's the one mod I installed, actually, when I played The Witcher 3. I was like, what? Why? Why can I not carry everything? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And is it weight based or is it
Yes.
slot based?
It's
weight based. Okay.
Oh wait, it might be just solid item based.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
your
sure.
inventory is a grid and you only have so many squares you can fill.
It's weight based. It's like
It's weight based. Okay.
Each thing has like a
Okay.
value assigned to it, and you have like I think it's 80 to start with, and your sword and armor and shit takes up like 25 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the infinite carry switches the 80 to 10,000. So
Nice.
yeah. And then the critical slow motion hit thing. I don't know what it's an acronym. I don't know what that stands for. The next one, Ultra Gore, which is like the dismemberment, and like you'll see like organs fly around when you dismember people. Unlimited durability, because that needs to be a thing. Fuck durability in general.
Agreed.
I had my time to think.
Cool.
I played Final Fantasy 15.
I was hoping somebody would. Okay, go ahead.
From November through December, and in a couple days I'm going to play it some more. Because I really liked it. It had a lot of flaws, but I had a really fun time with it. And I enjoyed starting again to try out a slightly different build and see if it would be like viable throughout the early game without farming or whatever. Because that game is like super weird with the farming in that your skill tree isn't locked, like isn't gated by progress. So if you have the tenacity, you can like kill things in the wild for fucking ages and get tons and tons of AP and get all of the skills for every character, which costs thousands and thousands of AP, and you get like 1 AP per enemy, by the way, maybe. And so you can just be like maxed out from the start, and I've done that, and it's all right. It's pretty fun in itself. There's also a level system, but the skill system is like separate.
Interesting.
I really enjoyed it when I didn't expect to, is the thing. The concept of an all-male cast, not because I'm sexist and not because I'm desperate for tits, the concept of an all-male cast kind of hit me the wrong way, the same way an all-female cast would, in that it just felt uneven, and it felt like, really, you couldn't have put one in there, because I fucking love the character design of like Final Fantasy characters in general.
Yep.
And I really like seeing what they do with the female characters as well, because it's a different kind of fun. And I don't know, it kind of disappointed me. But when I played the game, the friendship between the guys actually almost brought me to tears at points, because it felt real to me. The English voice acting was really, really good. Like I tested between English and Japanese when I first started the game, because it gives you those two options. And English was by far better for me, for Noctis, because Noctis is the main character and he's like a 18-ish, 20-year-old kind of guy. And the Japanese guy sounds like he's 25 or 30, and he's like smoked a pack of cigarettes, a day since he was 2.
Jesus.
I didn't like the Japanese voice acting, and Prompto was fucking awful. The blonde guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he the one that takes the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I found the gameplay to be fun, surprisingly skillful, in that you can make fights go a lot better depending on how you approach it, and not being a dumbass and holding down the dodge button at the right time and whatnot, and you can parry and all that good stuff. And I just had a lot of fun with it right up to the end game content, and I did all of that, and all my characters are maxed out. So yeah, I had a pretty fun time with the game overall. Some of the chapters had some issues. And
did you play it after that patch where like they fixed the story or like added more story or something?
Well, what they did in that patch essentially was they took scenes from the movie and spliced them into the game, so that you kind of understood what had happened at certain points. My problem with that, excuse my water bottle, my problem with that is that you shouldn't have to watch a small anime series, a movie, read a small novel, and play the game to understand the game's story, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
No, I'm with you.
But I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. That being said, I still really enjoyed it, so fuck me, I guess.
Well, so with the interspliced content, did it actually give you more information on the story, or just the general like universe it was in? Because the universe I'm okay with. If you have to watch that shit to get just the main narrative, that's fucking retarded.
You needed, well, to get the full impact of the story, which I would recommend, you needed to watch the movie as well, like before it.
The movie was a prequel, right?
Yeah, movie was essentially a prequel and kind of same time as Quill,
Okay.
The novel, yeah, the novel was information on the universe basically, and like stuff going on before what happened in even the movie, explaining some of the universe. The anime was pretty much a must-watch as well, because it provided a lot of character depth for Noctis and Prompto.
Is the anime good?
Well, it's like 50 minutes in total, and, I'd say it was pretty good.
Was it like high budget? Was the animation?
I don't know what high budget animation anime looks like, Justin, so you're going to have to educate me.
Did it look like a Ghibli movie, or did it look like Sekirei?
I don't fucking know. It looked alright. I watched it.
Okay.
You can watch it for free on YouTube, so go out and do that, I guess.
Alright.
Yeah, it was fucking... I liked Final Fantasy 15, had some issues, has a lot of content that I enjoyed, a lot of content in comparison to older Final Fantasies, not so much, but, I kind of, when I was reading comments related to Final Fantasy 15, I kind of want to punch a few of the people that comment in the mouth, because they go like, paid $80 for a game in Australia and I only got to play it for 120 hours.
What? Who said that?
Sell your fucking console.
Or even
Jesus
the people
Christ.
that are like, oh, I only got to play a game for 60 hours. I'm like, dude, look at your cost, like, to hour ratio there.
Dude, if I get 20 hours out of a game, I'm like, yep, that's a $60 game, that's fine. Unless we're talking multiplayer, but if we're just talking like single player game, or like the main narrative, dude, 20 is like great.
Apparently you're one of the sheep, Justin.
Oh my god. Tell them to get a fucking job so they can...
See, that's
that $80 doesn't matter as much. Jesus Christ.
Well, or the time expended does. Like, if a game requires 100 hours, it's almost certain I will not finish that shit. Like, like to get through, like, that's just too long. One, because I don't think... Okay, get ready to hate me. Game stories are not that good that they take 100...
Whoa.
That they take 100 hours to tell.
Whoa.
I agree.
Right?
I disagree.
You can
Fuck us.
The 100 hours is all the
Now?
dumb shit side project stuff that you have to do, all the depth of the game. Most games could be 10 to 12 hour games. And I think
Depends
that's
on the genre.
fine. I doubt it.
No, okay. My favorite, I'm not going to say the best, but I think it's super good. Like when you compare it to like what we would consider like classically awesome narratives, is StarCraft 2. That's my favorite story in any game ever. And given the RTS nature of the game, or like the fact that it is an RTS, it takes a long time to beat, but the narrative is so fucking good across from Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. Like, it's my favorite universe in any fucking video game too.
Okay.
But the narrative is worth all the gameplay you have to go through, in my opinion. And it's fucking amazing. I just spent 5 hours. It was like 3.5 hours yesterday watching a one YouTube video that has all the cutscenes from it because I love it so much.
Wow. And most of the time spent in there is developing the narrative. Like, so it has no side quests. There are no weak points.
It's an RTS.
Yeah. Okay.
So it doesn't have like a traditional.
Well,
it doesn't have like a traditional progression narrative.
Well, but no, that's not true at all, because you'd reset between missions, right? Like, I never played the StarCraft side of it, but I played plenty of the Warcraft side, and it's like you get a reset, you start fresh each level, and you play for a time. So it's not like
but there's no like you can do it faster, but the fact that it's an RTS means you can't just blaze through it as if you were speedrunning Dark Souls to get the story. Like it just at base level it takes a long time to play.
Sure. Okay.
So it would take something like 30. I'm just wigging it here, like 30 or whatever the fuck hours, or whatever. I mean, the 120 is obviously a different story.
Oh no. 30 or 40, I'm totally cool with. I still don't think it takes that long, but 30 or 40, I'm fine with. getting
Okay.
like 80 plus is kind of like, come on. Like that's when that is when I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you feel the same way. An 80-hour game I will get bored with. There are times when you're playing that thing that you are just saying like, oh my God, come on, get to the next thing. What the fuck is even happening here? Like, the mind cannot follow something for that long across many, many, many days.
Yeah, that's the shit where like you're playing like Lost Odyssey or something, and you look at it in the case and it's on like 5 discs or something,
Right.
and like the bad guy's gotten away 10 times, and you're like,
Yeah, totally.
this could have ended 3 discs ago. Why? You know?
The only games that I have more than, I think, 40, 50 hours on are games that I continue to play because of their mechanics.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think I've ever liked a game enough to play it more than that solely based on, like, it takes that long to play. Like, for example, Warframe, I'm almost at 900 hours now.
Sure,
but that's like the grind and the, you know, the whatever playing it. Binding of Isaac, I have like 51 hours in it, and that's, you know, entirely mechanics. There's no real like narrative past hour 3. And Metal Gear Solid 5, I guess. Metal Gear Solid 5 actually I haven't even beaten yet, but mechanically I like that one too, and that one's another one where I mod the shit out of it. So
yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 took me about. It's different for me because I take a long time on purpose because I do shit over and over and over again.
Oh, you were getting like S ranks on shit, huh?
Yeah, because
it
took me like, I don't know, I think it was like 80 hours to beat the game, but I beat it because the mechanics were that good, and it feels like a long game, and everyone that knows Konami is like, well, it should have been longer. But because what they did to Hideo Kojima was awful, but
yeah,
it took a long time, and I still liked it, you know.
Yeah, see, I'm on 94 hours, and I just did the Jeep ride with Sins of the Father playing in the background with the Skullface. Yeah. So I still have a long way to go because I'm just like replaying dude, I have almost every fucking gun unlocked. The only ones I'm missing are the fucking the online ones that you have to get, like the gold highlighted ones. I have every single gun in that game.
Yeah, like don't even bother with that. That's literally just Konami being like, hey, want to spend money to get tokens to advance your research and shit? Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yes. I got a long way to go.
But I mean, that type of stuff is exactly not what I was talking about either, right? Like if a game...
That's why I separated that deliberately. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I can't actually think of a story that takes that long, like across games.
Like people...
That was what I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, people that are complaining about the game should have been longer are not saying like, I was glued to my chair for 92 straight hours enjoying the story. Like it's a bang for the buck thing. They want to go deep into this game and discover all the shit and earn the stupid little trophies, no offense. But like it's not a story thing. And I just no, and it's I'm just like my little narrow view of it is I play primarily for the story. So it's like if I missed the ultimate weapon to be like, oh, dumbass me. Maybe I'll get it on the next time.
Fucking old Final Fantasy games that had the ultimate weapon that you had to do something for.
Yeah. Well, these are exactly the people that
are
like complaining like that. They're being like, oh,
retarded
Final Fantasy 15 didn't have 50 billion retarded backwards travel back to this area, unlock a stupid token, get an entirely new 20-hour quest type thing, or like a huge super boss. It didn't really have that, and I kind of wish that it did, but I don't think it diminishes Final Fantasy 15 like in that way. I think the ways that 15 was bad were in a couple of the chapters, and that in the story itself, I think could have been longer, but they didn't have enough development time. And I know that sounds ridiculous when they had 10 years, but they didn't actually have 10 years.
Sure.
One guy footsied around with it for 6 years more, and then some people got lumped with it and they said, get it done in 3 years. And they made it. And they're doing more story DLC down the way, which are expansions, not really DLCs. Like they're sort of, they're bits that they wanted to include, but they couldn't,
Is there chocobo racing?
Yes.
Oh boy.
There's no chocobo breeding.
Oh.
Fuck that.
But there are races, and they're kind of fun. I didn't really do those. I did most of the combat stuff, though. Did all the hunts, which were fun.
I remember Final Fantasy X chocobo racing was the most horrible thing ever. And you had to score like a certain time to unlock one of the ultimate weapons on one of the characters, I think. I can't remember which character it was, but I was livid. I was fucking livid the whole time.
Oh,
so that was awesome.
When I bred chocobos,
Final Fantasy X was the only Final Fantasy that I actually got every ultimate weapon, or even got one, but I did end up getting all of them. That was the only one that I cared enough where I'm like, I need to do 9,999 damage by attack, not even using skills. I need to do that.
I need to.
So
yeah. I did the same thing with 7 actually way back when. Because they had all that stupid, ridiculous, backwards, find this ultimate weapon shit.
Oh, definitely.
And, like Yuffie's ultimate weapon was the one that I loved the most because when you kitted her out right, she could throw her shuriken, and because it's a shuriken, it hits the enemy once, and then it actually hit them twice, like a second time on the way back. So you ended up doing 2 lots of 9,999 damage, which made her like almost the strongest fighter in the game if it weren't for Cloud being able to hit everything at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Cloud's ultimate weapon called?
Ultima weapon.
It was Ultima, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
which I think was a throwback. That was a throwback to 6 at least. I don't know. I think 6 was the first time the Ultima weapon appeared.
Well, it was a spell for all of them, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Ultima,
sorry.
no?
It was a spell. It was the Atma weapon in 6. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm getting my made up words confused. I was actually really interested in what you said about sort of the all male cast ending up being okay, because I'd heard a lot of complaints about that too. And I was thinking about in terms of how it played out. To me, it looked like it was a lot more of like a buddy picture, right? It was just like this group of. It wasn't necessarily that they designed 4 characters, all of whom were male, saying we're going to make a male cast, but it's sort of like, yeah, we designed this one guy and he's just out hanging out with his friends type thing. So it almost played out more like a Hangover type thing. Like it's a buddy pick. It's a buddy story. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're like they're kind of his guardians, but they're also very much his friends, and they're there for him. Him being Noctis, the main character, who is the prince of the kingdom that he is heir to. So one of them's his bodyguard, one of them is like his schedule manager / chef, and the other one is his friend from high school. So
his entourage.
Yeah, pretty much. And they drive around in his dad's car and they have, a blast. Yeah,
so it's like fucking Ferris Bueller's Day
until it's time to save the world. No, Ferris Bueller had Mia Sara. It had a woman.
No, I meant the whole driving around in the Ferrari part.
Yeah, it super didn't play out well to me in my head, but when I actually played it and did all the voice, like all the extra little bits and just the comments that some of the characters make, which, after the 200 hours that I have in the game, because I play a bunch, they do kind of just become background noise, but the first few times you hear them, you're very much like, oh, that was a neat addition, or you're like, oh my god, there's so they're guys, you know, they're friends hanging out.
Cool.
Well, at what point do they sing Backstreet's Back?
They don't, but in the opening cinematic, Stand By Me plays, so.
Fuck.
Are you being serious?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's actually really good, so.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
There's not much real world music in the game, but there is that. So.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 had Leona Lewis do a song or two or something.
Yeah.
And I like Leona Lewis.
And I think, was that
Leona? I don't know her name.
Was that the first time? No, I don't think that was. I was going to say, was that the first time they did like a pop song since 8? Like the horrible Space Love song?
Yes. I'm not much of an aficionado on 12, but I know it didn't happen in 9 or 10.
Well, and the reason I asked, like the other thing I was going to ask about Final Fantasy 15, because I'm on the fence with this game. Now that I am PS4 enabled, it's sort of like, should I actually play this game? But otherwise, it'll be the first like official Final Fantasy release that wasn't an MMO that I just passed on, like flat out passed on. And I don't know how to feel about that. But the other thing I was going to ask about is how it balances sort of the open world, because I've heard a lot of people who are echoing, Kenton, what you were saying about not expecting to dig it that much, but actually having a really good time, being surprised at like how fun it is to just bomb around and do shit in Final Fantasy 15. So like balancing, I guess, main story with open world, just having fun, screwing around. Your impressions
You can very much rush the story. And this was a complaint that a lot of people had, was that I guess they kind of expected to be gated by what they could do like in the story, by what they'd done in the open world, like a lot of stuff, like a lot of games do.
Like skill level wise?
Yeah, like
strength wise.
You expect to be able to not be able to do the game at level 1, but you actually can. So it'll get like the game will have like recommended levels for the missions, but you can just blast through them. And I think if you make a concentrated effort, you can bomb through the game in about 8 or 10 hours.
Wow.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have my issues with the story in that it's a bit shorter than I feel that it should have been with regards to the narrative, not that horrible it should have been longer, but it's only 80 hours long. No, the story, I think, had some bits that could have been elaborated on with gameplay, but they didn't. So I would recommend that you enjoy the open world alongside the story, but don't be afraid to play the story as well. Like if you're really into the story, play the story missions. If you're kind of fatigued by doing important shit, well, you go do some side stuff, go explore, because the game only rewards you for exploring. Like you'll pick up ingredients for recipes and new and powerful weapons just on the ground, like some places. In fact, the game encourages you to search for the royal arms, which are kind of special weapons, and they sit around in tombs and stuff that are in the open world of the game. Like, but the exploration kind of reaches its full potential when you unlock most of the map after a certain story mission. And that's when you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go look at this chocobo place that I've heard about, and I'm gonna check out this base that some guy told me about, and I'm gonna help this guy with his car trouble, and,
right.
you know, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I'd say it's balanced fairly well, but I think it's very sensitive to how you end up playing it in the end. Like, if you just want to be like, okay, I'm just going to play story missions until I'm not strong enough, well, that you'll get to the end of the game with that kind of attitude.
Okay.
in like 10 years. So in 10
Credits
hours.
are rolling.
Not 10
Okay.
years. Yeah.
Interesting. Super interesting. Okay. All right, cool. That was all I had. Those are kind of the things that I was thinking about, because I was curious about the all male cast too. Because I think it's, I think it might be the first time. I guess the original Final Fantasy on the NES had an all-male cast. Like, it originally came out where you could pick your characters, but you couldn't choose gender. I think they added that in remakes on the DS and stuff like that. But I think since then it's been a very, very diverse cast across types of people and different like species of people. And
and you had like warrior girls, and you had the princesses and stuff,
totally.
and the sorceresses, and you had the wizards and the red mages and the blue thing that Kimari was.
The blue thing, right?
You know?
Lion.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is like the inverse of Final Fantasy X-2, but like done right.
I felt it was very much like that. Like I said, there were just moments in the game where you're like, oh, they're friends. They had fun doing the voice acting for that, you know.
Well, because the main problem with X-2 was because you already had familiarity with Yuna and Riku, but you were getting used to Pain for the first time.
And her name.
Yeah, well, I know. But which is already like a problem in just balancing like how well you know the cast, because it's such an offset. But the central problem it had was the character chemistry, and it sounds like they nailed that in this one. And you don't know any of the characters from the get-go. They're all at sort of the equal level of you getting to know them at the same rate. So I don't see why it wouldn't work in that sense when you compare it to X-2.
There are speed bumps, like in like the game is not without its flaws with regards to the characters interacting with each other. At some points in the game, characters will get mad at each other.
Good.
And that should happen, you know.
That makes it real,
normal,
right?
Healthy fucking relationship. But the degree to which some people get mad with each other is kind of fucking weird.
Oh,
and it just feels like they're being a dick. People who have played the game will know what I'm talking about, but
people who have hung out with me will know what you're talking about.
It's not without its flaws, but I think they really did a good job with it. I just wish they had more time.
But Canton, 10 years.
Oh yeah, they had 10 fucking those people. So Polly, what did you play?
I played Bloodborne. I finally got my ass a PS4, and this counts as 2016 because I got a PS4 for Christmas. The first thing I did was like fire up my old PSN account, which had not been accessed in 3.5 years or something.
Oh,
nah,
God.
not that long, maybe 2.5. And like had to remember my password and go through all this stupid 2-factor account recovery shit. But I got Bloodborne, and I am finally playing that game, and it's quite the gem. But I mean, it's a really good game, and it sounds like I'm surprised talking about this. I'm not surprised. I knew I would love this game. I didn't fully fathom how much I would, and I'll get into that, I guess, detail wise. But it's a great time, and I'm sorry that I didn't, get a PS4 to play this one game prior.
That's a big sentence that you just put out into the world right there.
Yeah. I think
you were sorry you didn't get a PS4 for one game.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think about it. I was talking about this elsewhere too, like just trying to think about, the cost to get into it. I picked it up over the holidays, so I got the Uncharted 4 bundle, which I have not touched. But it was like it's $249, and that thing is probably going to go on eBay, and I might get like $3 for it. Or like so $249 for the system, and then PSN was doing a sale, and I got the game with the Old Hunters DLC for $25 over the season. So I've got the full game, I've got the expansion, I've got like double the weapons, I've got the complete Bloodborne experience, and I was all in for less than $300. For that money, throwing it out there into the world. If you are a PC only guy and you love the shit out of Souls games, if you love the shit out of Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, like if if you can say that, Dark Souls 2 was good and Dark Souls 3 is great for these
good
reasons,
ones.
but the good ones, yeah, totally. If you're one of those people and not playing Bloodborne for $300, it is worth it. Like, there is no caveat to that statement. I'm trying to think if
I mean, I think that's retarded.
then it's not for you, man.
Game.
Think
The
your
game's worth
opinion
$300
is
probably.
irrelevant, seeing as you've spent so much money on Platinum for Warframe. So
That's true, but I also got 900 hours out of it.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
Over the course of 2 years.
Yeah, but like you also have an entirely new console that you can get exclusives on in the future, and
Nah. I can't use controllers, so
I'm just saying, like,
can't do
the
it.
experience of the game, Justin, I would tell you this. The experience of the game, it is better than Demon Souls. Bloodborne is better than Demon Souls.
Well, I don't think you actually realize how impossible that statement is.
I didn't until I played Bloodborne. And then it was kind of like, oh my God. They did it. They did it.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. Like when so like the fact that Bloodborne does some things that I don't like doesn't blind me from the fact or from seeing the reasons that people do. It's just I look at it and it's just not my thing. Like everything I like about what Bloodborne does, another game that I've already played does it better. So like the speed of the combat and the dashing back and forth and the hit and run kind of nature of the combat. Like, okay, I'll play Devil May Cry or DMC Devil May Cry, the first one, because you can fucking teleport around and change. Like that's why, even though Devil May Cry 3 is better, DMC Devil May Cry is my favorite Devil May Cry, just because the hit and run is so fluid and so good.
Sure.
And I get like 800 frames per second on that game for some unknown reason.
Woo!
Which I mean, past 144, I can't see shit, but that's nice. So seeing the fluidity in 144 is fantastic.
Sure.
But Bloodborne, I think, so like combat wise, I just don't get it. It has the best soundtrack out of any Souls game. I listen to the Bloodborne soundtrack at least like in full twice a month.
Yeah,
I bought.
It's
I
quite
bought
solid
it on
it is,
iTunes.
it's
I paid
quite solid.
for it.
Yeah, totally.
Paid money for it on iTunes. And oh my God, and the use of the cello, and oh, it's so good, so fucking fantastic. But beyond that, it's like I just, they still don't have a jump button. I just
No, they don't. No, they don't.
just-
But the thing of it, okay, so the thing of it is, all those things you mentioned are correct. Like, a lot of this stuff has been done in a number of other games better. But this, like Demon Souls, just like Demon Souls, everything in there done before, better. But the formula, the way that it all comes together, the sum of the parts the whole is so much bigger than the sum of the parts. Like the dashing and the jumping around and the gun parries and playing a Souls game with the mobs that come at you in the fast-paced combat, not having a shield and having to gun parry and having to dash and dance around. In addition to like the challenge of the bosses, like playing a Souls game like Dark Souls 1. I likened it to playing Dark Souls 1 if you were playing it for your first time, dual wielding. Like if you had a falchion in your left hand and a longsword in your right hand, or a claymore in your right hand, or something like that. And you didn't have a shield, and you never two-handed, so you couldn't block. Like imagine playing through Dark Souls 1 with that experience. Like not being MLG dual wielding in the later years of the game's life, but going through that game being only able to parry or swing with the fast roll. And then
that sounds not good.
What?
Sounds awful.
Are you kidding?
That sounds horrible.
Are you
Polly.
kidding? That sounds so cool. Okay, so maybe that's
No.
colored. Maybe that's colored
Well-
by like being, aware of Souls games or how they play or whatnot. Maybe. Really?
Well,
You thought that
okay,
sounded
so-
awful?
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I'm gonna be honest with
Like
you.
all the shit you're doing when
completely
you're
devoid of hyperbole. That sounds horrible.
like all the shit that you're doing as a noob in a Souls game, right? When you're like tiptoeing through areas behind your shield and like angling your camera to peek around corners, like that sucks.
I never did that. I just died instead. I've never played defensively ever, except like the going through 1-1 on Boletaria with the S stock or whatever the Royal starts with. That was the only time I've ever done that.
I can't believe you guys thought
run
that sounded
around like
terrible.
Well, that's why the single player is always
being,
more.
Sorry, I was. That wasn't what I actually meant. I didn't mean it sounded horrible. Literally.
Oh, okay.
It sounded like, I wouldn't want to do that by choice, if you know what I mean. Like I like my shield in Souls 1.
Sure.
They're OP. They're great.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you just meant it sounded brutal is what you meant, but
yeah.
No, I just don't think that sounds good.
Okay.
It's like fun to play. Also, something I've never sort of given voice to is Dark Souls 1 gets a pass for it, because it was like the first one and it was new. But ever since then, between 2 and 3, and then now considering Bloodborne, I hate how Souls games do open world. I hate it. And that's the reason I love Demon Souls, because I've said it before, it feels like an obstacle course where you just go in, you overcome the challenge, and you fucking get out. Next obstacle course, please. Dark Souls 1 kind of, again, it gets the pass because it was the first one. All the ideas are really fresh. Ever since then, I've not been able, I can't stand it. I can't fucking stand it.
I don't know. I don't like Mario in my Souls. I kind of discount Demon Souls for that. I don't really. One of the parts I don't like about Demon Souls is the fact that they're all just fucking separate pieces of shit designed and put together, and then there it is. How do you get there? Where does it relate to shit? You teleport there. Well done.
Yeah.
I don't like it personally.
Fair point, yeah. Like as far as like aesthetic goes on that point is I don't like, because it's not big enough, like the overall world isn't big enough, or rather the fact that it's not an open plain with you being able to go in literally every corner of it. The types of environments blend too quickly, in my opinion. Like the game just changes. Okay, so like
in Dark Souls
blocks,
you're talking about?
Like in Dark Souls.
Totally.
From where I'm
totally.
Yeah, so from where I'm sitting to around the corner, like 1 block to where my liquor store is, I will go from fucking I don't know, the Berg to the Depths, or fucking Old Demon Ruins to, Blight Town. Like it just changes too fucking, like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I actually, the reason I laughed was I imagined the abrupt fucking like green filter change when you go from the bridge and start to go into Blight Town through the back end. And suddenly, a nice sunny day in the Valley of Green.
Right.
Or, for fuck's sake, the Parish to Moonlight.
Parish to Moonlight, absolutely.
All of a sudden it's
That is-
blue. Yay. Woo.
Yeah, and
I think
it's nighttime.
Yeah,
it's
and
the
it's
only
night.
fucking area in the game where it's night. It's like,
Dark Souls 2 was the worst for that
It
shit.
doesn't.
When you went from
The rain.
the rain, exactly what I mean. When you start to approach Dragonlake Castle, and it gets darker and darker as you get to there, which was kind of a cool like encroaching darkness sort of thing when you first go there. And you get out on the other side and it's fucking pouring rain, and you're like, whoa, this is atmospheric. But then you look behind you, and through the tunnel there's sunshine.
Everything's dry.
Yeah, totally. Well,
How?
that tunnel actually burrows through a mountain range that lore-wise was the seat of the gods, and so clouds are trapped on one side of it, and they can't cross over the continental divide to the... No, there's no explanation for it. There's absolutely...
Explanations are
Jesus.
convoluted in Dragonlake.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just... So if the dual-wielding analogy totally missed the mark, I will still just cling tooth and nail to the fact that the whole is so much better than the sum of its parts. Like watching Bloodborne, even if you're a fan of Souls, even if you're a fan of these types of games, and I'm going to say Souls, I'm not going to say Soulsborne. Like if you're a fan of Souls, watching Bloodborne still doesn't capture it. Like the first time I played this game, like I picked up the sticks and I went out into Yharnam I was throwing pebbles at dudes with pitchforks and forks and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I was dumb to not have picked this up sooner. Like there's this moment of like, oh my God, this is exactly it. Plus I will give it a lot of props for the setting change too. I think the Victorian era setting was a welcome and lovely departure, and the ability it gave them to weave horror into the story, or this weird like science fiction
It's a
Cthulhu thing
Lovecraft.
that they got, a
Yeah.
Lovecraftian type thing.
That's the word I was trying to say.
Like that opened up so many doors and brought it really did bring a fresh feeling to playing a Souls game. We were maybe it was the last one. It's been so long since we've done one of these, but maybe on the last one we were talking about how Dark Souls 3 just felt like more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Bloodborne did not feel like more of the same. Bloodborne was exactly the same formula, but felt almost completely different.
It felt like a new game. Like the first
it felt like
time
a new game.
You
Exactly.
started playing a game. You knew the concepts in the you sort of understood how FromSoft's like open worldy kind of enemy AI tends to work. You sort of understood that, okay, get to the end of this area and there's a boss and the health bar comes up and sometimes there are second or third phases, whatever. But it still felt incredibly new, and I can remember that feeling.
Totally. It's like maybe it was the difference between games in a genre, right? Like you might be an old seasoned real-time strategy pro. And if you play maybe one thread of a series, like you mentioned StarCraft, if you play Warcraft, if you go from Warcraft to Warcraft 2 to Warcraft 3, after a while they introduce some new things, but those are kind of, yeah, I get it, we've played this before. But then when you jump to StarCraft, like it feels different. Or if you jump to another real-time...
Well, it's because it's set in a different universe.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean...
Well, and that's the thing too. Like Bloodborne is set in a different universe, so it's like it didn't. Whereas Dark Souls 3 felt like more of the same from Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, all the stuff we've been playing. Even though Bloodborne had those same mechanics, it could have felt very much more of the same. It felt like a different game within the genre. So, as Canton was saying, about the mechanics, you know about how these things play.
Can I interject before you do, Justin?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it feels very much the same as Souls mechanically, but the new universe to me allowed it to give you that new feeling of, oh, we're actually playing something different than Souls. That's what made it feel different to me, and the fact that they embraced different themes than Souls did. With like Souls, they had this weird like view of the undead and the gods and divinity, and it was a big theme with that was divinity. But when you go to Bloodborne, they're all like, oh, the unknown, the horror, the dark. We don't know what's going on. Everyone seems to be going nuts or going or like getting sad or whatever, turning into monsters, and we don't really know why. And is that so different to everyone's getting the curse, the undead curse, and we don't know why? I guess if you say it like that, not really.
Well,
but
very quickly on that point, I think those are almost identical in that both of them rely on some form of gradual madness. I mean, like the more you hollow, the more mad you go, and the fucking crazy dude looking for his eyeballs in the pond is going nuts. Like they're all going nuts.
Sure.
Just from an aesthetic view,
sure.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, but I can't like.
But I mean, so
off
Frodo
the feeling
with
that
his ring.
It was
like that's not the they like the madness element is not unique.
I know. Look. I'm not saying. I know I've always had a negative view in total of Bloodborne. I'm not trying to say I don't like any of it. Some things are my favorite things done in any Soul. The Burial Blade is like the best weapon in any Souls game ever. That thing is so fucking cool. The soundtrack's the best. I really like the game aesthetically. I'm not like not architecture wise. I'm not like a big Victorian that kind of thing fan. And I'm not a huge Lovecraft fan. But the color palette really, I think, is fucking unreal. I don't like the whole colorful, oversaturated fantasy shit.
Sure.
That's usually in Dark Souls, which is why I really love Boletaria, because that whole fucking thing was like gray and green. But the way you started this thing off was, it's worth it to pay $300 for this thing, and I'm like, no, it's not. And Jesus Christ, you're talking about me switching from PC to PS4. I mean, like,
no,
can't
not
even
switching.
Keep 30.
Not switching.
Well, no. Like, dude, not switching, but I have no option to play this game on PC or even do anything that a PC gets. Like, the thing can't keep 30 frames per second.
No, it cannot.
Sake.
It cannot.
I will not play a slideshow for one, and the controller aspect is horrible. I hate games that I have to play a controller now, just personal preference wise.
Sure.
And like I spend all this money on this computer, and that's why, like, when people get upset when games like it doesn't even run at 60, it doesn't whatever, it's because you buy certain parts so that all games can do that. It's like, why would I buy something that's less in every regard and somehow be okay with that? Like, I would spend the $300 and buy another buy another 970 and SLI the shit out of it.
Sure. And that makes sense. And I think
that would be more worth my money.
I hear what you're saying. I think my counter to that would be, why would you buy something that's so much less in other aspect? Because the most important aspect to me, from my perspective, in terms of what I've seen from this game and what I've experienced from this game, is the experience of this game. Does the PS4, does it like run on old diesel fuel and you have to crank it every now and again? Metaphorically, yeah. It's not the beefiest hardware on the planet. Can I notice frame drops? Yes, absolutely. Does it bug the shit out of me that it doesn't run at a consistent 30, much less 60 plus frames per second? Coming from the PC side, yes, it drives me batshit crazy. But I'm saying the experience of the game is so special that it transcends the mechanical flaws.
I understand that, because there were many areas of Demon Souls that ran at way sub 30.
Yeah.
I get that, and I get the whole experience part, but I think something, because you mentioned before that like in videos past, that you really get into a game and have that one game for a while, until you play something else.
Yeah.
I play like I do that, but I do like 5 games at the same time. So right now it's like The Witcher 3, Watch Dogs 2, Warframe, and I'll have to look. Fucking, I don't know. Warhammer End Times Vermintide. That's a long fucking title, and Overwatch. So any time that I suck out is being taken from those. And when I look at these, and when I think about how much I'm enjoying them, I'm like, I'm not gonna give time away from these games to play fucking Bloodborne on top of, the 300 for it's ludicrous. It's out of the question. Especially considering I know, like, in any extra time I have that, say I'm not enjoying Overwatch, I'm not enjoying Warhammer, Witcher, whatever, I can spend that time, like, there's always something to do in Warframe. So I always have like a backup.
All right. Like everything you're saying there is like, well, I am interested in all of this other shit, and I'm not interested in Bloodborne. You're barely even interested in Souls anymore. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree, but the entire reason that we're framing the conversation this way is because Polly started out with a sales pitch to me.
It wasn't to you. It was to anybody out there listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we addressed it that way from the front.
Sure.
It may have been my fault. It may have been my fault that we're even framing it like this. But
I wouldn't even get you to like look at a PS4 in a fucking catalog, because you're a
Fair enough.
That's fair. That's fair. So let me rephrase. Let me rephrase then. Having spent the $300 to get into this game and play it now at this point, you know, the initial $499 plus $60 for the game, like $560 for the game, that's a much larger pill for me to swallow. But for less than $300 to play this game, I'm thinking of it as one of those like chance meetings that you have with people, and sometimes you just meet this random person and you talk to them and you get to know them, and you're kind of like, that kind of changed my life. Like I would have been different had I not had this one conversation with this one guy. And I feel like I almost let Bloodborne pass by as a stranger in the crowd. And I am, now that I've played this game, I feel that the $300 was a small price to pay for playing this game.
Is she the one, Polly?
The one of Souls. I said very emphatically, I think it's better than Demon's Souls. That could be that could be newness talking.
It was a fucking joke, damn it.
But no, like one of those, not necessarily in terms of like I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person, but one of those like really impactful moments. One of those situations that after you go through it, maybe it's like dragging yourself out of the house to go see a band live or something like that. And you're like, well, I don't really want to go, and I've got tickets, but maybe I could just like sell them online or something like that. All right, fine, I'll go. And then you go and it's like the greatest concert you've ever fucking seen. Like only in retrospect can you say, God damn, I'm glad I went to go see that band. And that's what I'm saying with Bloodborne. Like thinking of playing that game and thinking of like that fork in life's path, not playing Bloodborne versus playing Bloodborne. When I go back and look at that pivotal juncture, I'm thinking, I made the right choice. I played this game, and man, oh man, would I have regretted it without knowing I regretted it if I never played this game.
I totally agree.
I'm glad you bought it.
Yeah. It had exactly the same effect on me, and I paid for Bloodborne and the PS4 like together in Australia. I paid about $720, I think.
Yeah.
And that's for people. I'm not saying I'm fucking poor and like or living on the streets or anything, because I'm obviously fucking not. But that is a lot of money for me to save up and to spend on something. And
Sure.
I do not regret it one bit. If not just for Bloodborne and like the experience that it gave me and all the fun that I had with it, then for the fact that I got to continue to play Souls with all my friends and stuff in Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin on PS4 at 60 frames a second, which was nice and strange. And then I got to play PS4 exclusives, and I'm playing Diablo with friends, and I played Final Fantasy 15, which isn't available on PC yet. And I'm going to get to play Nier Automata very soon. First.
Is 15 coming to PC?
They're working on it, I think.
Oh, are they? I hadn't even seen that. Okay.
Nier's coming to PC.
Yeah, Nier is definitely coming to PC, but it's not coming on, like, it's coming like a month or more after.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, even with that horrible fucking price tag attached to it, I feel exactly the same way as Polly. Like, I will go back and fight Cleric Beast and Lady Maria at least once a month. If not for the music,
Maria is
then
such
for
a good boss
like
fight.
the actual fights. They're so good.
Maria's really good. The Old Hunters soundtrack is actually awful though, compared to the regular
Is it
music? It's so like it doesn't. The Old Hunters has like the grand scale type of like orchestra,
right?
But it doesn't have like the haunting like melodies that the original game has. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I just listened to the whole soundtrack yesterday and way different.
It's not as good, I don't think, the soundtrack for the Old Hunters. That being said, the Old Hunters DLC was more of an expansion than I would say DLC for me because it was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And again, for the price that it was at the time, and especially for you, Polly, I guess, because you got it as part of the Game of the Year thing. Was that content worth it to you?
So I haven't even gotten that far. But yes.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, it's big.
It's big.
Like bigger than I thought it would be. Just when you play it, you'll get it. You know.
Well, and it's funny, like a lot of playing through this game. I mentioned the retrospect thing. Like I'm kicking myself for all of these decisions that I made in the past because I had resolved to never playing Bloodborne. Like it was like, this is a game I'm just gonna miss. So I watched all kinds of playthroughs and all kinds of spoilers, and I know exactly what's happening with this game, and I like fuck myself over for it. But it does not detract from how badass it is.
I'm glad.
I'm having a great
Glad
time
that
with
someone
it. So,
out there can appreciate Bloodborne.
Well, and the thing, like, I'm not playing online. I refuse to pay $15 a month to play online. I don't play enough.
You are not missing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even if you paid for it, you're not missing. Did they ever get the thing working? Like,
to match up with
some
people,
sort of,
like,
to some sort of quality standard.
Kinda is the official stance on that.
Oh,
like after a certain point, like when they could see, I guess this is my imagining of what went on from Software. They saw the number of people that were still playing it compared to Dark Souls 2 and went, we're not supporting this anymore. And there hasn't really been a patch in a very long time, to my understanding.
How did that game do, like, in sales?
Bloodborne.
It did really well?
Bloodborne?
It did really
Bloodborne.
well.
Yeah.
Because it was like
So
the big PS4 thing. Like,
that makes sense.
It put out consoles.
It was a console seller, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, in both of your guys' cases, it's likely to get a sequel. It's good news for you.
I saw that just the other day.
What?
Oh, no, just general. I just mean sales numbers wise. I mean, usually, like, for whatever fucking reason, if something makes money, they think, oh, we'll make another one.
Then what are you talking about, Polly?
Yeah, I thought I saw some tease the other day.
There was a tease, yeah.
What?
But it wasn't
There was
anything.
a tease?
Yeah,
There was some, like...
Yeah, totally.
There was some, like, low-key tease. Yeah, it was like some ambiguous, but I don't know. Some circle jerk.
I don't... not sure how I feel about that, but I'm sure I will eat it up.
Oh, yeah,
So-
totally. And I'm actually, it makes me excited. I think playing Bloodborne makes me more, it's out now and I haven't checked it out, but it makes me more excited to try out Neo or these other Souls-like games. Or, okay, let's back away from that so we don't go down the Neo rabbit hole. But like,
Yes,
if we,
please.
if we see other games that are the classic From formula, the Souls formula set in other worlds, like I will play those for the rest of my life. Like this experience going from dark fantasy Souls to Bloodborne is sort of like, oh my God, do one of those in some other time. Do one of those in the future. Do one of those in the whatever.
Are you talking specifically made by FromSoft or just like the style generally? Because I mean now you're talking about like the kind of Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed route, a little dangerous.
So I would say, you know what, to play it safe, I'm gonna say made by FromSoft.
All right. Well, a little dangerous.
I could appreciate like a future Souls-esque sort of like mechanically, like sort of gameplay game.
Think about Souls set in like the Mass Effect universe.
No,
That'd be
like
neat.
that. What I was about to say was if it weren't a bright,
Sci-fi.
shiny, super holographic tech sort of universe, like a gone to shit universe. Not Fallout, but like things didn't really get better and everything's just kind of crap and we're trying to get out of it. You know, get out of what's going on. And it would kind of suit From's ability or inability rather to have too much on the screen at once so they don't have to like program bustling crowds or anything. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Or like
I'd like to see a Souls game in the Ghost in the Shell universe. That'd be fucking sweet.
Souls in the Shell. Or like
Oh.
Yeah. It writes itself.
it writes itself. Oh. Bato is the new Solaire.
Oh my god. So good.
Mullet
I've
Force.
been playing the Ghost in the Shell like free to play shooter game. It's actually pretty fucking good.
It's good, is
It's
it?
in early access. Yeah. It didn't start out great. It had like a bunch of. It was just super like minimalistic, but now it's fucking great. I mean, it's a multiplayer FPS, so it's just 6v6.
Oh, I might give it a shot then.
It's voice acted by the actual cast and from
Wow.
the anime and stuff. And you get to play your guy. It's cool because no matter what team you're on, you get to play someone from Section 9, but. So on both teams, you have people from Section 9, but the opponent always looks like some generic force, like from your perspective. Yeah. So each it's kind of like Overwatch too. Like each of the characters have some ability or ability that's that's equals per
can I
character.
ask a
Like
question?
the major can go invisible and stuff.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Can I ask a question of like both of you guys? Have you played Inside?
Yeah, I didn't finish it, but I played it.
No.
How was it?
From what I played, it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah?
I got on a certain puzzle, and I just got so angry that I uninstalled it.
What is that? Is it a puzzler?
So angry.
It's from the same people that did
the guys that made Limbo.
Yeah.
Okay.
What,
Okay.
Yeah, what he said. Is by the same people that did Limbo, and it's like
It's creepy.
very much the same vein, but it's
I think
like
it's
creepier to boot.
Yeah.
Like I haven't played it, so that's why I was asking about opinions on it, because I'm looking at it and it's $20, and I'm like, that's not much to pay for a good experience because I liked Limbo, so. Yeah, sorry, just random thought when I was looking at Steam just then. Similar, Polly, I spoke about Nier Automata earlier.
Yes.
Were you looking to play it?
Yeah, I am. I have not been following it that closely. I remember looking at it, I think when the initial launch was announced. Was that an E3 game that they showed
I don't know.
this last year?
I think so.
I think so too. And I remember getting super excited. We might have even like mentioned it. Yeah, we were, because we couldn't figure out how to say automata. And
Oh,
then,
that's
like,
right. Because we're all like, Platinum, and Platinum's doing a new thing. They're doing
Yeah,
the
totally.
second Nier game. Yeah. I'm like super looking forward to it because it's by Platinum, and I played the demo, and I really enjoyed the demo.
Really?
It's like
Okay.
it's a bit. It's not, if you're expecting Devil May Cry or like Metal Gear Rising, it's not
yeah.
strictly that, because there's like also a bullet hell kind of aspect to it in the middle of the action,
Okay.
which is really
I saw
weird.
like hints of Vanquish too.
Yeah, it's really weird when you first get into it, but it's very much fun. It's super responsive. It runs at 60 FPS on the PS4, which is an achievement. And like I'm super wet for it. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and speaking of 60 FPS
Discard
too,
the waifu too. Just like don't even focus on it. Just play the game. Ignore the waifu. It's fun.
No. No. Don't ignore her. 2B. Speaking of demos, do any of you guys follow the Tales games?
Tales.
You know what?
Mm.
I played those like back in the PS1 days. I got super into Symphonia 1 and 2.
Okay. I heard that one's really good.
Both of those are amazing. I played wait, was it no, it was Tales of Destiny on the PS1. Tales of Destiny 1 and 2. I played Tales of Symphonia.
Okay.
That game was like 120 hours long, and that is one of the games I have in my mind that's kind of like, this does not need to be this fucking long. But good and fun as a 40-hour game.
Okay. Well, I haven't liked like the last 3 really. Like Xillia.
Yeah, I have not played Xillia or Zestria.
They all fucking rhyme.
Yeah, Zestria.
Yeah, Zestria. I don't whatever. But Berseria or whatever the fuck is coming out, and they redid the battle system, so it's like it's more action. Like it reminds me of like if Final Fantasy 12's combat was like good. Like instead of just running around until your AP gauge charge, you actually had like input commands over your shit. And they have a demo on Steam, and it's super fun. I just played it yesterday. It's really fucking good, and for the first time in forever, I'm actually gonna play the shit out of it. And the characters, like I don't know, like you know how like Japanese games fucking like that. They have like the visual novel dialogue style.
Totally.
It's really fucking annoying, but the game like kind of does that, but like they're actually animated. Like it, like the mouth movements and the expressions, they're more like that was just like a barrier of entry to me, where I was like, if it does fucking still frame text reading bullshit,
I hate that shit.
Yeah,
I don't mind. I don't mind that at all.
I'm not gonna play it. Oh, okay. Well, if it did that, then I wasn't gonna play it. But it kind of did that. But like it's actually animated, so it just kind of substitutes as a different style of cutscene rather than being forced to read a bunch of pointless shit. And they're all optional too. Like it's kind of like in Final Fantasy 9, I think, where you press like select when the Mog fucking icon popped up, and you got like an event, something. It's kind of totally like that. You press Y when like the prompt comes up, and it's all optional from the demo anyway. So.
Right. Interesting.
I was excited about it.
I guess I'm kind of like biased against it because the visual novel style of, you know, characters popping up and their mouths just move and they just kind of talk to you. It reminds me exactly of just visual novels, and my view of those types of things that you can get on Steam has been utterly fucking tainted by all of the ridiculous just softcore porn that gets put on Steam, and
totally
like there's no effort in any of the dialogue. I haven't played any of them.
That's the thing. It's a format that lends itself very well to being incredibly lazy with your storytelling. But I think a lot of it, like, I mean, I have great memories of it from back in the day. Like Tactics did that, and that was the shit. And like Valkyria Chronicles did that, and that was the shit. And so, I mean, it can be done really, really well if the text that you're having to read is compelling and interesting. But it's also one of those things where you can get like some 12-year-old kid to draw you an anime character that looks cool in this one freeze frame. It doesn't take any development or any thought. You're just sort of like, here's a cool picture I made during math class. And you're like, great, let's put some text behind it.
What really pisses me off is those fucking RPG Maker games that always lure me into clicking on them on Steam because they have like some really cool picture, and you get in there and it's like fucking 8-bit.
Yep.
Like, what are you?
Yeah, and it's like,
what are you doing? Why would you do that
like
to me?
The basic fucking like RPG Maker assets. It's great that people want to get into game development, and by all means use RPG Maker. But please, like, if you have to draw it in MS Paint with the pixel, like one pixel size brush thing, do your own art and like.
Yeah.
Find external music and stuff. Just please, because nobody wants to play as the same orange-haired anime girl for every game. Some people do, but I don't.
To some extent, that stuff does get filtered with the review system. That's always kind of been a problem. Like everybody, it's fun. Everybody who has like the smallest shred of creativity in them, like all feels like they have this great story to tell. It's like the world has never heard my voice, and I'm going to tell it in an RPG Maker game. And then you play it, and you're kind of like, yeah, this is like some knockoff Lufia clone. You're like, what's Lufia? Some shitty knockoff of Final Fantasy. And it just like aspiring screenwriters. I've got this great story to tell. It's about this cop who gets like trapped in this situation. You're like, that's Die Hard, dude. Just start over.
And then you get games that come from RPG Maker like Weedtopia, which
Oh.
is not a joke. It's just a game all about weed.
That's pretty cool because memes.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's got like a Pokemon style battle thing, and you send out like Dopachu or something. All the names in the game are like
wow, so it's like
related.
It's a bad parody. It's like it's a non-clever, lazy parody.
It's not funny, but what makes it great is that when you watch the video of the developer like pitching it on Kickstarter, he's incredibly passionate about Weedtopia.
Oh my god.
Like,
I thought you were about to say he's incredibly high.
No.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Well,
his eyes are red.
No, his eyes were wide and just ready for you. You know, he was just so happy that he could get Weedtopia out into the world. Unfortunately, his Kickstarter did not get funded. So.
Oh, it didn't. Oh.
So sad.
Yeah, nobody's trying to disparage anybody from chasing their dreams.
No.
But there's also a certain, I don't know, self-awareness or reality check element to it that is like not all ideas are good. The fact that you can does not equal should.
Yeah. This is a problem with just the ease of entry now.
Totally. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I think it's kind of cool actually. Yeah. I think it's I would much rather have the barrier of entry low and the bar for success high than the barrier of entry high and the bar for success low. Does that make sense? Like back in the day when there were like these gatekeepers. Yeah.
I love that everything's so accessible now. There's some shit there on the internet, man. When people put their minds to it, they can create something that's really not that good.
Well,
it's a shame.
I'm not trying to defend Weedtopia, but I think that's also kind of cool because it's also an age when you can create something and it doesn't need to be a hit. Like it can resonate with a handful of people, like a couple thousand people, and that can be a success. That can be worth your 6 months of development or something like that and lead you on to the next project. That's pretty cool.
Well, speaking of success, Canton, I wanted to ask you, how are you enjoying Afterbirth Plus? Have you played it?
I've played about 5 hours of it and have enjoyed it. I haven't really found much of the content that they added, like being the extra stage and like the extra boss that I hear that's in there. I haven't watched much on it, but me not playing it is not an indicator that it's shit. It's kind of just an indicator that I'm not very interested in Isaac at the moment. So
yeah. Well, I've actually been playing it for a bit, and dude, the mods are so fun.
There's like a workshop now, which is amazing.
So good. There's a whole Pokemon mod. It changes like everything in the game to Pokemon. It's so cool. I don't use it because whatever, but like it's so good. And there's like there's new characters. There's just one character that like her name's May, and she has like, instead of shooting tears, she has like, she's supposed to be like a ghost character, and she has like 4 tears around her, and depending on your, I think, tear speed or shot speed, they rotate around you, but the one in front of you extends, but they just move in a circle, so it's kind of like you have Tiny Planet, except
cool. So it's like it's like playing like a hardcore familiar only run. Orbital only run, just kind of
basically, it's like having 4 orbitals, but when you push forward on your tiers, the orbital that's in front of you just extends forward.
That's cool.
It's really fucking cool.
I'm super interested.
I think she can only have black hearts or something.
Yeah, I'm super interested to like get into it, but I'm waiting to be into it and also have time for it because I'm also playing Street Fighter V, which is
here we go.
a recipe for destruction because I am Australian, and like to get decent matches in Australia reliably, you have to like set it to 5 bars and you get a match every 5 minutes just because it's not very
Wow.
popular in Australia. And yeah, so I either have to play with Americans and be on an okay connection, but not great.
Now, is that because has Australia ever had a world warrior represented?
I don't think it's because of that, but
Oh, okay.
no. I don't think we have an Australian warrior, but that's only in Street Fighter 5 as far as I know. There could have been an Australian fighter for all I know. I just know that I'm playing Ibuki and Kami at the moment in their less revealing costumes. I'm glad they're available.
1, 2,
really
and
want to
3,
play
there
Dead or Alive.
definitely wasn't. I don't know about 4. Yeah, I don't know.
You just play nothing but Junkrat on Overwatch?
No.
No? What do you mean? You can't play anything but Australian people?
Junkrat and Roadhog. They're both Australian.
Yeah, but fuck Roadhog.
I don't play Roadhog, and I used to play Junkrat, but I just never find there's a use for him nowadays. But I don't even play Overwatch much. I just occasionally buy loot boxes. I am Blizzard's perfect customer.
Nerd! I just play May and Widowmaker, so I get to piss people off.
Wow,
All
you
the time.
must be beloved.
It's so good.
Are you fucking
Oh, it's so
Widowmaker on offense?
Yeah,
I
I
hate you.
actually play I actually play a good, and I'll switch if I'm doing bad, obviously. But I can push with Widowmaker really easily. I play better on offense with Widowmaker than I do defense.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea of defensive heroes is to be able to control the map. So like May obviously does the walls. Widowmaker can like block off one way of entry just by everyone being scared of getting
Existence,
headshotted
yeah.
through a hallway. Yeah. And the fact she can see through walls with her ult makes it, better. But that's like just my like I main defense. I mean, I say I main May and Widowmaker, but I love the defense because I love manipulating the map in a way that I try and predict the hero swaps of the enemy team. So like on like Hanamur or something, when someone's playing like a, I don't know, like a Genji or a soldier or something trying to run through that front gate when I'm on defense, I'll piss them off enough times with like certain tactics till I know when they're gonna switch to a Pharah to jump over the wall, and then and then I'm prepped with the strategy to do like it's all about just pissing off, It's really great. That's my favorite thing to do. So that's why I gravitate towards Widow and May.
Overwatch is fun. Like, I'd recommend anyone play it either on one of the free weekends or, pick it up. It's pretty fun. If you've got like okay internet, you can get matches everywhere because it's so fucking popular. Even in Australia, you'll get really good, nice, clean, not laggy matches. So,
And if you're on PC, it's only $40 too.
That's true.
Because you only have to buy the Origins edition. So that's good.
I think we rambled about a lot of irrelevant shit. Should we end
I know. That was like
We basically called
like
out
10 topics in 5 minutes.
we called out like 3 games, one apiece for what we played in 2016, and we're at almost 2 hours. I got to wrap up, but yeah, no, I think that's fine.
Absolutely.
All right.
Were you looking to
Let's
extend?
get the fuck out of here.
Nope.
Oh, okay, cool,
No.
cool.
This is all they get.
I got to go sell my dining room table.
Well, have fun with that question.
That
mark.
is never fun. Dealing with people and haggling is never fun. Those things individually suck. And so when they fuse, you're kind of like, oh my god, this unholy chimera, get away from me.
Nice. All right. Let's wrap it.
Cool.
All right. Thank you guys for joining me for the first roundtable in a long time.
Of 2017.
First of the new year.
Wow. So we'll get together in September?
Yes, see everybody at Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you
Cool.
guys, and thank you everyone for watching.
Absolutely. Thanks for hosting.
Bye-bye.